Okay, I forgot to take this video before I removed the starter, so let's do the reverse. We'll put a new starter in. Okay, this is a new starter. This is the bolt, one here and one here. These are the two bolts and the starter just comes out. So it's not that difficult. In the book they told me to remove the cruise control cables attached to the engine or transmission, but we did not have to do that, so it's a lot easier. This is, by the way, a 2003 four-cylinder Toyota Camry, and it's quite easy. So let's see how the reverse is. This was the old starter. As you can see, I just replaced it. It's identical to that one, and so not a difficult job. Of course, right now no wires are connected. I just put these bolts in, this and this, and the starter is still kind of loose. I'm going to tighten it, and I'm going to come back and show you what else I had removed that needs to go back. Thank you. This is a 14mm wrench, and that fits perfectly with an extension on both sides of the starter. Both the bolts, you can use the same extension, fits perfectly. Next we're gonna connect this positive cable. Again, another easy one. I believe this is 12mm that the socket will fit. Another easy connection. I'll get back. Just to let you know, when you connect this, make sure it fits in properly all the way. See, this is like a square here, and this thing got two taps and it fits perfectly. So when you tighten the bolt, a nut, you don't rip it off or anything. So I just tighten that. Make sure you do not over tighten or strip the bolt, or it might turn from the inside and ruin the starter, so be careful. Next we're gonna just connect the positive again. This is through the switch that sends current to the solenoid to start the car. Okay, that is done. Then I just plug this connector in, and we have our main positive and the keyed positive that sends current to the solenoid that starts the starter. And then I'll tell you the reverse of what I had removed. So maybe I'll put this on a tripod. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna get this in. This is part of the air intake, and make sure that we connect it to the bottom manifold. So here it is, and then we need a bracket that goes over here, right here, with these two bolts over here. Gotta attach that. And take a closer view right here. These are the two bolts here, and this is the bracket. We put this air intake here and attached it to the that white manifold. It's just an empty box, I guess, lets the air flow without letting the garbage in. So that's as simple as that. I'll tighten the screws now. Okay, now that we got this bracket attached, it's time to get this air cleaner housing back in there. It's a little tricky. We need to get this thing inside, so before we put the screws on. So there it is, and then there are 3 bolts that go from the inside that attaches to this bracket, and then there are 2 bolts that attach this to the front frame here. And put your air cleaner back, and we're ready to attach the battery and ready to crank it up. I'll be back right away. Okay, I've got those 3 bolts tightened. Now it's time for us to get our air cleaner filter back inside. And then also a reminder, before I removed this bottom housing, there were cables that's attached to the housing, just like a tie wrap, that had to be taken off before I could remove this. Otherwise the cables behind, the sensor cables, are holding onto this from the back, so I just had to pull it out and disconnect it, and the rest we'll get back when we start the car. Well, I just want to remind 2 of the 10mm screws go in here. This is the part of the intake that I had removed. That's the first thing I removed after disconnecting the battery and removing the battery. So we want to make sure that this thing is tightened again. Again, do not over tighten. Okay, and then we're gonna put our battery cover, rather the bottom of the battery, and then replace the battery, connect it, and hopefully it's gonna start. Here we go. Perfect.
There we go.
All right, that's great.